When thinking about exposures, when you're thinking about educating your prospect, there's two big categories, okay? One is using a tool of some sort, a video, an article, a document, recording of a Zoom call, which I guess would be a video as well. And think of all the different tools that you have. That's one way. And then there's all the events. Okay? From your company convention all the way down to regional events, down to local events, down to anything face-to-face. There's the face-to-face category of events. And then there's the virtual category of events. Okay? Now, if you could pick any one of these things, a tool, a virtual event, or an in-person event, what do you think would be most productive? Which is going to get the best results? I'll do it this way. Tool here, online event, in-person event. Which one's going to get the best results? In-person. In-person event, for sure, is going to get better results than a virtual event, and it's going to get better results than a tool. But here's the problem with that. Unless you're incredibly highly skilled, it's difficult to get people to attend a personal event, a face-to-face event. Right? You can invite them. They'll say that they're going to be there, and then it's difficult. You have to have high levels of skill. I learned high levels of skill to get people to physical events because those physical events created great results for me. But here's what I learned. What I learned is start here. If you can, invite somebody to meet you for coffee or meet you for breakfast or lunch. That's a physical person-to-person event, right? Invite them to some get-together at your home. Invite them to a local opportunity event. And invite them to a local training. They could see what the business is all about, okay? That's your first. I always like to try doing that first because what's easiest? A tool that is not time specific, a tool that you can use anytime, but it's lower effectiveness than an event, a physical event. In between is a virtual event. Is this making sense? Tool, virtual event, person-to-person event. So I like to try. Some people say it's so hard. Try. If you have an event that a person can attend in person, whether it's you, a 2-on-1 with you and somebody else in your organization and the prospect, small group, lunch, get together, or it's an opportunity presentation somewhere in your local area, that's always going to get better results. So try to get people there because it's going to give them a great exposure and a great educational process. But if you get resistance, or if they no-show you, they say they're going to be there and they don't show up, or they give you resistance, I just don't think I have the time. Any of those things happen, then back up, next step, back up to a virtual event. Invite them onto a Zoom. Invite them to get together with you and another person on a 3-way Zoom. Okay? Invite them to some sort of still face-to-face, but using technology. Okay? Physical first. If that doesn't work, invite them here. And if that doesn't work, yes, then go to a tool. Because if you just stay in tools and you don't get people connected to events, events change people's perspectives and perceptions of what it is that you have. It's your best tool to educate people. So a tool, you have to be skilled to get somebody to watch the tool, to engage with the tool. But if you just stay there and you don't give them the chance of seeing this, and here's kind of how I do it. Start with the physical event invite, if you have one that you can invite to. If you get resistance or if they no-show, scale back down to a virtual event. If you get resistance or they don't show there, scale it back down to a tool. And then once they watch the tool, what are you going to try and do? Get them to the virtual event. And from the virtual event, what are you going to try and do? Get them to an in-person event. This side of things really is sticky and productive. This is going to give you reach. The tools are going to give you reach. The virtual and physical events are going to give you connection and depth. People make big decisions much more quickly and more effectively at events than they do with tools. So I like to start with the physical, just to recap. Start with physical event, back up to virtual event, back up to tool. Once they consume something at that tool, they watch something, invite them to virtual, invite them to physical. Keep going through the process. The only reason to have an exposure of any sort, tool, virtual, physical, is to schedule the next exposure. From exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure to exposure, they're going to become educated on what it is that you have. And that is your job, helping people understand what it is that you're involved with and how it might benefit them. Okay? So see if you can just kind of absorb this. This is a big concept, but it's simple at the same time. Big in terms of effectiveness, but simple in terms of hopefully you can remember this. Tool, virtual, physical. Back to virtual, back to tool, and repeat the process until they become fully educated. That's our lesson for today. I'll see you tomorrow.